Good evening, guys. We are just waiting for Russell to come online. Russell lives a little bit further out into the sticks, so it takes just a wee bit of time for the internet to get up the hill for him to join us. Thanks very much for coming along, and hopefully you'll have a good fun chat tonight. The onus tonight is we're not promoting anything. We're not kind of up here to do a hard sell. It's just a little chat between Russell and I just to show you guys who we are and what we do, what exciting stuff we've got coming up from the Inverurie Whisky Shop in the very near future. So, just as I'm waiting for Russell to join us, quick introduction. I'm Mike. Hopefully you'll have been on our one of our tasting events that we've been running, so you might recognise me from that. If not, I'm the owner of the Inverurie Whisky Shop, and we've been here a little over 5 years, about 5.5 years, in the heart of Inverurie, just to the northeast of Speyside, probably the most famous nearby region to us. So this is me. This is the shop. What you can see behind me is our newest addition to the shop, our wall of independent bottlers. Up there and some of our higher end whiskies in the cabinet behind me. This has just been completed about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, just to kind of showcase that we are more than the norm when it comes to whiskey. We are presenting a lot of different whiskey here. So hopefully you can come in past and see what we have to offer. If you can't, we are online at inveruriewhiskyshop.com. Still pushing it a little bit of time as Russell struggles with the internet. Let's just see if he's going to join us on. Charlie, it looks like, unfortunately, you're the only one who can't hear us. You just want to check your sound control on your own computer. Hopefully, we can get you to join us. You do now. Awesome. That's good. Great to have you along, Charlie. And Duncan, congratulations are in order. I'll raise you a wee glass to the good news I saw on Facebook just the other day. Another weighing in to go. Hopefully that doesn't impact on the whiskey budget too much. But I'll raise a glass to you. What I've got just now is a wee dram of the Pedro Jimenez handful from Tomatin. It's bottle number 30. I didn't even realise that. 53.7%. And I'm just going to tell you, it was Russell who got it for me, and he is now waiting in the studio. So I'm just going to add him on.
Hey, technical issues don't come easy, do they?
So we've already. I've just done a quick introduction for myself. I've shown the guys the wall behind me, the new independent bottling wall. Introduced my dram, which I was just saying before you jumped on. It's one of the Tomatin handfills that you got for me.
The PX, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's the PX. Yeah, not the one that was in the photo. I think you're pouring the Oloroso in that one.
That was the Oloroso. Yeah, that was our wedding day bottle that obviously had to then be. It was dated. It was dated for our original wedding date, which we then had to cancel twice before we were able to open up for that. So yeah.
Yeah, we were in the same boat. We got the Glengoyne handful when we were down there, and we had it dated the day we got engaged, and then got married. We went ahead in August, so just a little bit before you. So a lot of people coming on. Charlie saying hello. Charlie's a kind of.
Hi, Charlie. Congratulations, Charlie.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
yeah, fantastic.
To Duncan. I don't know if you saw the news there that Duncan is expecting a new baby very soon. Duncan Mateer, who's a regular for us, and so Charlie just passed her WSET level 1. You just got the news today, did you, Charlie? Is that right? And so well on her way. Another mainstay of the whiskey tastings that we do one of the great things about that, the virtual tastings, we've been able to communicate and reach out to. So for those who haven't have the privilege of meeting Charlie on a tasting, she's over in Norway. Much to our delight, she bears with the duty cost to join us. It's a hell of a fee that you have to pay, but we appreciate your dedication to the cause. So Russell, do you want to give just a reintroduction to the guys who may not have been on one of your tastings? Who you are, where did you come from?
Yeah, where did he come from? Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess I was the new boy on the block until Annette joined us a few months ago. But yeah, no, got the opportunity to work in the shop with Mike. They did a short video interview. Oh gosh, seems like a decade ago now, but I think it was way back in about October 2019. I was still working for the NHS at the time, just building up to my retiral, so a perfect opportunity to do something completely different. So thankfully Mike sort of seemed to think I was okay, offered me the job, and I worked very, very part-time leading up to that Christmas. Got a chance to do a couple of fantastic educational opportunities down to the Edinburgh Whisky Academy with Mike, with a nice day away, and learnt a lot about sensory perceptions within whisky, how to nose a dram. And yeah, then we went into the furlough, so that kind of stopped things in the shop for me for a while until we got back in. I think it was about July, August. And then that was when the virtual tastings for me kind of came on the go, having been thrown in at the deep end with my very, very first tasting in the shop in January, which was about 3 months before I was even thinking about being ready to host one. But it went okay. People drank their drams and they seemed to appreciate the day. So working about 20 or 24 hours, maybe something around about that now a week. Doing a couple of tastings, 2 or 3 tastings each weekend usually. Some with distilleries and the private ones as well. And learning as we go along.
I'm going to take these off because they keep falling out of connection. So I might just move a wee bit closer to you. Technology is great when it works, hey guys. John, good evening to you. Natasha, Chris is on. Alfred, good evening from Tara. So you are not the furthest into the sticks tonight, Russell. We've got somebody from Tara, which you're obviously moving to as well.
Well, indeed, yeah, Aberhurder, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, if you do have any questions, we're just here. Any excuse to sit down and have a dram, really. We're going to have a dram and a chat and talk about some of the things we've got coming up. But if you have any good questions, either for me or Russell or about the shop, please do just fire them into the chat and we'll do our best to answer them.
Of which you're a dram ahead of me, so I'm going to wait to pour one now. So this is the younger brother of the brothers. This was a lovely experiment in a Blether, bottle of Glencadam, 9 years old, matured in the same bourbon barrel, but they took it out and bottled half at 9 years, and then put the other half back into the char, which had been heavily charred, and matured it for a further 3 months with really, really interesting consequences. You can see the colour difference with the 2 drams. And definitely a different flavour profile. I clearly enjoy the heavily charred one a little bit more.
Wait to see, you can see which one's your favourite.
I'll go with just the bourbon mature just now, which, as we'd expect from our Glencadam, will be lovely pineapple notes.
So many good things coming out from Glencadam just now. We had that pork pipe. We had a tasting 2 weeks ago, maybe now, with Ian.
Ian for teeth, yeah.
He's now one of the blenders there, promoted to master blender. Not sure if
that's
title, but and they've got some crack. If you want bourbon cask whiskey, you could do worse than Glencadam. And I know Alistair, who's on watching, is involved with the Glencadam appreciation.
Appreciation side, yeah.
So we'll give a wee plug out to them. If you're a fan of bourbon cask, you're a fan of Glencadam, have a wee search on Facebook for the Glencadam Appreciation Society. I'm sure we'll let you on there and share your Glencadam stories.
The term bourbon bomb, so it's not easy to say. Bourbon bomb kind of came on the go as well. I mean, Glencadam certainly are. We're all familiar with the term sherry bomb, all the connotations that holds. But Glencairn are definitely the bourbon bomb. So anybody who likes a bourbon whiskey, definitely check them out.
So really, this is the first of evenings we're going to be doing, and just nice and relaxed. We just want to kind of chat to people from around the industry. Charlie from Norway, she's started her own blog, Freedom and Whiskey. So we're going to be having a chat with her. We've been trying to get something in the diary for quite a while. So hopefully we can get something in there for the week. We have Andrew Smith from Little Brown Dog in a couple of weeks. He's talking to us on the 1st of April. So that's quite apt, I think. Maybe 3 fools and 3 together would do for the 1st of April. And maybe Charlie will pencil my date for maybe the week after that. But like I said at the top of the program, we're not here to push sales. We want to know you guys. We want you guys to get to know who we are, what we love about whiskey, why we do. And believe me, it's not selling whiskey. That's not why we do it. It's the enjoyment. It's the tasting and meeting new people and getting to do experiences and learning about so Russell's been studying. We just passed the Edinburgh Whisky Academy introduction to whiskey. The first entry-level exam that they do online. And as you said, we were down at the tasting course. And there's lots more courses for us to go on and experience. And every experience we go on, this kind of leads into one of the reasons we're here tonight is to tell you what's coming up in 2021. As you can see from the background of the screen, at the top middle, our logo next to a phrase you maybe haven't come across yet, the Highland Whisky Academy. So the Highland Whisky Academy is an idea that we've had since we opened the shop. Basically getting people into Aberdeenshire and introducing them to the whiskies we've got, but also having
Your sound's breaking up a bit there, Mike.
So we were looking at a 3-day course or 3-day long weekend kind of event where it would be classroom structured. You would come in and we would do tasting events. We would teach you about how to nose. I know the whiskey doc. I'm not sure if he's watching. Paul McLaughlin, who I know from Canada, we've been on a couple of courses, was keen to come over. And he's a dentist to trade, so he knows all about your nose and how that connects to your taste and all that kind of thing. So he was going to come over to Scotland to lecture on it. We've got a local connection with Annie Manson, who is a sherry sommelier over in Spain, and the great-granddaughter, there might be an extra great in there, of the Manson brothers who founded our local Glengarry. So these kind of guys who are quite unique to us, people we've met, and we want to get them in to do a long weekend. And over time, I was away on another couple of courses. We realized that there's so much information out there, and we have so much on our doorstep. Why not do a week? It's certainly possible to do a week. My original idea, we were going to visit one distillery. Now with the academy, we're looking at doing 5 in a day. So the postie just arrived in there now.
That's the doorbell, so the dogs are going to go daft for a wee bit. The joys of live TV from home.
This is completely unscripted. In the morning we'll be meeting the farmers who grow the barley. We'll be talking to guys like Paul McLaughlin. We have Vic Cameron on board for doing a lecture on the barley. We'll be visiting farmers and seeing how they grow the barley, and do some really top end tours with touch wood, everything gets to go ahead. Meeting guys like Billy Walker and of the Highland Academy. You can visit the website. I'll pop up a link to the website on the chat just now. We also have Facebook.
You have to mute me for a little bit, Mike, until.
I'd like to say he's just really excited about seeing me again, but probably not. Which whiskey distillery location are we looking forward to visiting when it's possible again, and why? To be honest, initially it'll be Glengarry, not just because it's our local one, but we get our stock direct from Glengarry, and we're running low. So that'll be the first place I'll be heading to when we get opened up again. The local ones are great. I always enjoy going up to Glendronach and Glenallachie, which we also hope to include in the academy. I'd really be excited to do that. Hello, Antia. Great to see you. So Antia is the brand ambassador for Kilhoman. I would love to get back to Isla. Absolutely love that. Russell was due to go just before
October.
Yeah. It was October past, but everything got let down. Week-long course there. Unfortunately, that's fallen through. But you'll get just as good experience at the Highland Whisky Academy and chaperoning as well. So, the idea behind the academy is going to bring people together under one roof and share accommodation. So this creates a bond with the other, I wouldn't say students, kind of visitors or comrades or however. Just a really exciting kind of unique whiskey experience for everyone. The way it's looking just now, we're not sure if the accommodation part's going to be feasible or how it's going to work, but we're certainly very keen to get an academy of sorts underway pretty soon. Hopefully in the summer, might be to the kind of tail end into autumn. Excuse me, but yeah, that's certainly one thing that we're really, really looking forward to. We should have probably done two by now, but yeah, things are what they are.
One of the nice things about the whole event is hopefully maybe putting on a musical event of some kind for the students or the people who come along and take part in the academy. I mean, obviously, we were told it would be residential, so it can be a properly, once we're allowed to mix, obviously, a proper sort of immersive experience, and people can get to know each other and maybe even keep in touch after. But have some kind of musical event at the end of it to kind of finish off the night with a whiskey dinner or something like that.
Yeah, we ran a whiskey dinner. God, it must be 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. It was 3 years ago, it was in April, and we had Robert Fleming from Tomatau, Glencairn.
Nice. Yeah.
We had Robin Lang, the whiskey bard, as our guests. It was a 6 dram, 3-course meal. And that was to celebrate the launch of the Aberdeenshire Whisky Embassy, which I suppose we could have a wee chat about now. So we started this as a kind of exclusive club for Aberdeenshire Whisky. You can come in and get a little bit of discount. It's a wee experience, but Russell's kind of taking this on full time from us. So I'll let Russell have a wee. How you get involved, how you can get involved. Russell, hear about the AWE.
Sure, absolutely, and as Mike was saying, it was a sort of club that was started a while ago. One of the benefits of the club, I suppose, is the 10% discount, which is quite nice. But also, whenever some of the exclusive bottles come out, embassy members get first dibs on those. So it's a good opportunity to pick up some of the things that are hard to get. But we're probably more interested in trying to engage guys as much as we possibly can, in the sense of being involved in exclusive tastings and events. Obviously, members serve from lots of different areas, and just now travel is restricted, but it'd be nice to think that members that are from further afield would be able to come up to the area and take part in some of the events that we'd like to do closer to home and out with the shop. So things like tours, exclusive tastings, again, dinners out and about, tastings in remote areas. It'd be wonderful to think we could perhaps do a tasting up at Glenglassa on the on the beach at Sand End, which would be quite spectacular if we could do something like that. Obviously, we're restricted just now, but in terms of ideas, we'd love to hear what sort of things the guys would like us to try and achieve, because we'll certainly try and do that. So far this year, we've had tastings with Antia's on tonight. So Antia came and did a tasting with the Kilhoman, and we did that with some chocolate, which was a really, really good night. David, it was a fantastic night. And we've also had the Octomore with Abby Clefane, which was a pretty special night as well. First night tasting the Octomore for me, and the first dram is the first time for a long time something's actually blown my socks off in terms of I'm going to have to put some water in here, because it was just, it was wonderful, but it was just really explosive dram, quite challenging mentally, I think, probably more than physically. And it's the first time a dram's done that to me in a very, very long time. So that was a great night, and Abby's great entertainment. And obviously we've had Ian for Teeth with the Glencairn as well fairly recently, and Ian's just a wonderful, engaging guy to have on these talks.
It's hard not to enjoy it and get involved with it, and you're co-hosting with him, and it's you just have to kind of just step back and watch. Great knowledge for quite a young lad as well. I'm sure you'll appreciate it.
I've seen Ian a few times now, and from the very first time, one of the wonderful things about lockdown has been this opportunity to, I'm sure maybe people aren't that entertained by my Mike and I. Hopefully they maybe are, but they getting to meet the great and the good in the industry on Facebook. When some of the chats that Glenn Allachie did over the summer last year, and Ian did one with Robert as well, which was really good. And it's a great opportunity to find out who these guys think. So there has been certainly benefits, I think, from the lockdown situation, and that we've had all these things on Facebook that we've all been able to access much easier than actually getting to distillery. And even when you get to distillery, actually clapping eyes on some of these guys, and then eventually perhaps even being able to speak to somebody like Billy Walker, or Rachel Barry or Robert or some of these guys. So we're looking to continue with those. We've got the next one we've got coming up is a Spey with Paul Dempsey. Paul's another fantastic guy to listen to. World of knowledge, used to be involved in promoting bands back in the day, so he's got a huge interest in music and rock music, and he'll talk about that for a bit, as well as the whiskey. The Spey side.
That was just we had a training night, I remember, and I think like 2 hours afterwards.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it was literally a training night, a half-hour job, lasted for 2 hours.
Yeah, if you're ever on one of our tastings and you think it's a bit dull, wait until the after party, or stick it out after the official stuff done. Then the tongue start wagging, so stick around for after.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got a few other things lined up. Obviously, we need to cross the I's and dot the I's and cross the T's as we go along to pick things up. But we're working away to get an event kind of every month, specifically for the embassy. Obviously, we've got all the things through the shop anyway. But the embassy guys will get first access to those tastings, and I guess depending on uptake, we would then perhaps maybe open it up to the general public as well. But we're just looking to make them a bit more inclusive, so regular audience, a regular chat, people get to know each other, and I guess learn from each other as well.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what the idea of the embassy was, is just to get people talking to each other, showing what they're drinking, sharing their bottles, and if they're, it's limited to 50 members. I'm not sure if you mentioned that. And we're about 30 in. So quite a tight group. We want to give the guys the best attention that we can. And just kind of putting in things. There's a Facebook group that's separate and all that. So hopefully they get to know each other, and if maybe one of them gets a bottle that the other one didn't, we can do bottle shares and all that kind of stuff. So it's really just a small net. We don't want it to grow bigger than it needs to be. There's plenty of Facebook groups for that, but this is one that we just wanted to be a little bit different and kind of unique to customers of all the new. That's the embassy.
Definitely for any guys, any embassy guys that are listening, guys and girls, I should say, that are listening in tonight, then feel free to. You should have my email. If you've got any ideas or thoughts or stuff that you think you'd like us to maybe try and put on, then let me know and we'll see what we can do.
Well, you don't mind me sharing your email about it?
No, not at all. No, it's fine.
It's your personal one, yeah?
Yeah.
So, Russell, you can get Russell direct at awe@inveruriewhiskyshop.com or Russell at inveruriewhiskyshop.com. It's, as you can see, SSELL for Russell if you want to go that way. So kind of, what else have we got coming up? Well, hopefully, with the news last week, earlier this week, tours. God, it's been a long time since we've been on tours. This time last year, or maybe two weeks before this time last year, we were at our busiest for summer for tours booked. Unfortunately, due to the situation, that all got kibosh. But very, very keen on hearing what the distilleries have in store for their opening, so we can get back out in the minibus. Again, this is part of Russell's job to come in and start and assist them with the tours and taking guys out. So I can't wait for that to happen. Again,
absolutely. I mean, I just got to go with my first one just to kind of be shown the ropes, and what a fantastic day. I mean, it was a 60th birthday present for the chap who had no idea his son and his son's best mate, who literally lived in the house, so it was almost like the second son, were the creators of the surprise. And he used to work overseas in Africa, so his two best mates from when he worked in Africa were there as well. So there was and another chap. So there was 6 of them all together, or 7. But the guy had no idea. So he woke up on his birthday to watch the Australian Tennis Open final, and was literally sitting in his pants with his cup of coffee, watching the tennis. When his son said, "You're gonna have to get dressed," and he was kind of grumpy. I'm watching the final. What have I got to get dressed for? Or just come with us, you'll find out. So when he realised it was a shop and he was going away on a whiskey tour, he was completely overwhelmed. And a great day up to Strathisla, then the Mash Tun for lunch, with a whiskey pairing lunch in Aberlour, a tour of Aberlour and then past Macallan on the way home. Just for me, it was just magical. But so disappointed that the first one I was going to be taking after that in April was cancelled due to lockdown, and that was it.
I know. Yeah. I think it's hard to kind of look back and see what we've missed out on, but really looking forward. I just think the tastings have been great, and as I say, meeting people from Norway, from Switzerland. There's a guy, Paul, who always joins us from Switzerland. We had Hamish, the whiskey surfer, who got stuck in Scotland after a visit from Hawaii. So he's been on a few of our tasting events. So we've met some really interesting, really great people that we want to keep in touch with, even after all this. But there's something special about walking around a distillery or being in a bus with people, having a drink and clinking the glass, and getting that face-to-face contact. It can't come soon enough, whether it's in a bar or a restaurant or even in the shop. We've taken away the tasting stock at the moment. We just don't feel comfortable holding and handing out glasses at the moment. So, even that kind of seeing the reaction of people in their faces and having a dram is far better in real life than it is in a screen.
Well, I think people have taken us at face value, and I think that's one of those wonderful things is when people take a recommendation. And initially, when I was started working in the shop, I mean, I knew what I liked and I knew what I thought people might like, but you still don't know. So even though you've kind of bummed up this bottle and people have gone away with it, you're still thinking, oh my God, I hope they like it. If they don't like that, they're going to think I'm some idiot, But when people come back into the shop and say, oh, that was a fantastic whiskey, I need to get another bottle for my brother or my granddad, or, because it was just fantastic. I'm now getting the blame for people's bank accounts because as soon as I talk about a whiskey, they're like, I bought that and it was your fault.
Well, it does give you a wee buzz. And it's not because you've made a couple of pounds for the shop. Absolutely not. It's because
somebody's going to be and enjoy the dram that you've said. I'm pretty sure you'll like this. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I love about whiskey, is that experience of people enjoying what you're giving them, and you're part of that enjoyment. You're part of that occasion. So when they talk about it, the chances are, I bought this from Russell. He recommended it at the shop. You become part of almost a legacy of the story of that. That story of that dram, and I don't think there's any other spirit comes close. Gin's trying. Gin's had a boom and it done very well. Rum's always everyone's next big thing, but whiskey will be around forever. And I think that just that history and that kind of camaraderie that's built.
I mean, it is the whiskey of history. I mean, with all due respect, and I've got a huge amount of respect for the guys that are making gin, especially our local guys. We've got some phenomenal gins that people are working really, really hard, and the taste of these gins is fantastic. But whiskey has to have a history, because you've got to wait 3 years. You can't make it overnight. Hi, Bass. And I think that's one of the most brilliant things about the whiskey, is that it's got to sit there and sleep for a wee while before you can actually access it. So there is something more special, if you like, than any other spirit with whiskey.
Yeah. It's, and there's so many different, like I said, but you knew what you liked. But 20 years ago, I knew what I liked. It probably wasn't whiskey. It was, Waters and Coke or something like that.
Yes.
But as you grow and as you try more, my first experience in whiskey was Jameson's and ice. We went to an Irish bar, same Irish bar in Aberdeen, O'Donoghue's, every night. We were out, and we couldn't go into an Irish bar and not drink something Irish. So it was a pint of Guinness. And I think I enjoyed the idea of drinking whiskey more than I liked actually drinking whiskey. So it was loaded with ice, and it was Jameson, which is a really nice, easy dram. And just started drinking that. And so that's how I started drinking whiskey, was with a load of ice. It wasn't until I started drinking single malt Scotch. It was Dalwhinnie, 15-year-old was the first one. I thought, right, let's try this on its own, without ice. You know what? When I took away the ice, I probably started off by not liking as much whiskey as I did, but the ones that I did like, neat, I really liked. You didn't have that consistent kind of flavor that could really be any whiskey. When you load it with ice, and take out the ice and you get the individual character. So that says, and then just developing and trying new stuff is it's the perk of the job. I'm not going to lie.
It's a bit of naivety as well for me when I started drinking whiskey, and that I was fortunate enough to take part in one of these kind of fantasy football leagues, and I was fortunate enough to win it. The league was called Whiskey Galore because the idea was that you put up a bottle of malt whiskey as a prize. So if you won, you scooped about 10 or 12 bottles of single malt, and within a couple of years, I managed to win it. And it was the usual sort of stuff you'll pick up in your local store, nothing sort of mind-blowing, but sort of a little bit different for me. So there was a bit of experimentation. And one of the first bottles I really enjoyed was a Tomatin. And I just remember that sponge cake flavour that you got off. It was just fantastic. And I was delighted with that. But because I won it, and it was my mate that sort of started the league with his neighbours, he bought me a bottle of Glendronach as a kind of, you've won it for the first time, I'm going to get you something good. And I had this really recently. And it was a Glendronach 12. And that was a game changer. Complete game changer. I know this is different from all the other stuff that I've been having before. And just completely opened my eyes. But also from a naive point of view, I remember picking up a bottle of Glenlivet Nadura in Tesco of all places, and it was on a special. I thought, Glenlivet's a good whiskey. That looks okay. And it was wonderful, really, really strong. And I was getting drunk really quickly, and I couldn't understand. But I wasn't even thinking about ABV. See, this is a cask strength 60% whiskey, but I had no idea. So it's that kind of naivety of getting into it and wondering why I was having to put ice into this, or I was having to put water into it, so it wasn't burning my throat.
When the Nadura was age statement, was that, or was it one of the more recent?
Oh gosh, no! It was a single. It was, well, I don't know. It was probably would it have been batch? I don't know. It was certainly cask strength. It was around about 60%. Because I've still got the bottle, and I remember there's a dribble in it, and I thought I should try that sometime. And I looked, I thought 60%. I was like, well, I was trying to drink that when I didn't know anything about whiskey. What was I doing?
I think Dura might be way off here. I think Nadura means something like natural or something like that. So it's
That's right. Yeah.
so it's non-sure.
Yeah, I'd no idea. This is just a bottle of whiskey, and it was great because I don't have Glenlivet do with all their bottles. I don't drink a lot of Glenlivet, but it had this lovely paper wrapping inside, which just really impressed me. That kind of stuff.
I'm not sure if they still do.
That really impressed me. But yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing, to be quite honest.
Every day's a school day, isn't it? It's
yeah, absolutely.
What I love about it as well, being now that we've managed to get people back in the shop, is we learn just as much from the customers as they do from us. Everyone has a new experience or a whiskey they've tried that somebody else hasn't. We had I came down to make a cup of tea today. The last about 4 o'clock, I came through to ask if you want a cup of coffee, and we ended up speaking to Stephen for minutes.
About an hour, yeah, that's right.
We've got 5 minutes. We're making a cup of tea now. But good fun.
Absolutely, yeah. Talking about the Speyside Festival and all sorts, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, Speyside Festival. Tickets to launch today. So if you're keen on a virtual festival, because obviously I think that's what people are missing just now is that festival, the kind of joining together of the events where you get to go to distilleries and meet people. Some of these festivals people are religious about, and they meet the same people in the same pub every week, every year, and all that. It's a sad loss at the moment. But virtuals, we're keeping it going to an extent. I'll have a dig into this Speyside one and see what we can get.
I think some of the people that are probably missing out the most with the virtual thing, particularly for like the Speyside, are people who live in Europe just now because they're just not getting access to a lot of the kind of products, which is a bit of a shame. And these are people that would have come here on holiday, so we are losing out a bit this year, but there's nothing we can do about it. I guess we've just got to keep the interest and the communication going, and we'll hopefully welcome everybody here when they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope. So, has anyone got any questions? A couple of, Charlie, agreeing with you, the Glendronach revival. Duncan's the Tomatin. That's Duncan's local Tomatin. Ram. And I suppose now I've got the bottle in my hand and an empty glass. I've got the cover.
Yeah, I better go and do one of those as well, I guess. I'll stick to the wee brother. He's been nice.
And so Baz, who popped up on screen, Baz is from Holland. He's one of our AWE members. So you don't have to be in the UK. One thing we are hoping to do for guys like Baz, for Charlie, for Paul over in Switzerland, is do kind of hybrid events once we get our tasting room back in, or revamped, where we're going to be doing a little bit of work. And great to see Craig. Thanks for coming on and having a wee watch with us. Great to have you back in the shop, and thanks for your comment there. So hopefully you'll come back. Charlie, do the best. Charlie, you are our biggest European supporter. You've been great, and it's always a pleasure to have you on. And not only when we log on and say, "Oh, hi, Charlie," you see everyone else in the room as well. Hi, Charlie, and that's whether it's a host, or Ian Forteeth, or Paul Dempsey, or Dave Worthington. Hello, Charlie. It's just it's kind of a friend to everyone, which is great. The hybrid events are something we're looking at doing, and this is not just for the feedback we got before we locked down people, even from Aberdeenshire. If they live 10 miles out of Inverurie, getting a taxi and doing the tasting, getting a taxi back, you're adding 20-25, sometimes quid onto your night out. So a lot of the guys don't do it, but if we can sort of hybrid the events. So we've got the opportunity to invite people online and into the tasting room physically. I think there could be a great way of getting the best of both worlds. I suppose the next announcement we have is the we can't do a sneak peek at the moment, but we will be opening a big change to our tasting room. It's not going to be the classroom style as it was, straight tables and very kind of regimental. It felt, sometimes we just felt we couldn't really relax. It was more of a kind of sit down and learn rather than a let's have a dram. So what we want to do is create more of a snug bar feel. So it will be open for, through the week for people just to come in and sit and have a dram. We've got a great restaurant next door to the shop, the Fennel. So if you were to come for a meal to there, have a dram before or after. So that kind of thing, and just make it much more relaxed and more of an ambience about it, and get some whiskies up there. So it's not just the whiskies you've got for the tasting event, but then afterwards stick around for an hour or so and have a dram from the bar. So very, very excited about that. We've been sanding down staves for the decoration. The guy who designed the bar, you can just see his head peeking over Russell's screen there, Steve from a company called Magica. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Give his nose a scratch there. So these guys have come up with a great looking design. So really excited about that. Having a drink with you is 25 quid anyway. Just kidding. Some of us have.
You're not watching the football.
I know you should be watching.
It's
8 o'clock kickoff. So.
Yeah.
Well, Dave has just mentioned there, when's our 5th Stone Circle? So I was actually on the phone to the suppliers today. They've been through quite a troubled time. And so we're looking at the next 6 or 8 weeks lead time for it. They did throw a spanner in it. So the next single cask for our Stone Circle is a 9-year-old. It's going to be about a month short of its 10th birthday by the time it gets to bottling. So do we wait and call it? We didn't wait with the Glenallachie. It's a week short of its 13th birthday. We had a single cask Glenallachie that came out. And we were told, the bottling hall was shutting down. So if we wanted it, it had to go then. So we couldn't wait until it was 13 and got 12 years and 51 weeks. So we'll have the same kind of decision to make on that one. Do we wait? To be honest, the whiskey, it doesn't taste any different whether it's got a 10 or a 9 on it.
I think you bottle when you're ready to bottle. I think it's nothing to do. It's about the old Fergie adage, isn't it? If you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely the same for whiskey. That if it's ready to be bottled, it's ready to be bottled. And from our shop one, it wouldn't be any better if we'd waited to call it a slightly older age. I mean, it's a phenomenal whiskey, and I was astonished today because I've been saying to people long enough when they come in and talk about it that we're down to the last 100 out of the 700, but we're actually down to the last 40 odd.
Yeah, I say probably 50, 60 maybe.
Yeah, and that's been a fantastic effort really for people. But what a fantastic drama! I mean, it sold itself really.
Absolutely, yeah. It would be nice to be sold out, but the good thing about not being sold out is that we can still get a bottle for ourselves.
Well, I'm starting to think I might need to buy another one before it actually goes away.
Duncan's agreeing with it. He's enjoying it. I think we've been sent a couple of bottles up that way. And one of the other great things is when we launched the bottle, we had a kind of initiative. If you bought a case, which is 4 bottles, we would take you up to the Glenallachie distillery and do a tour. So we've got that to look forward to. Touch wood, all going well with the distillery opening. So if you bought a case, we'll be in touch soon to try and organise a date for getting you up to the distillery. Charlie, nobody's sick of you yet. Maybe you get your move and you're going to be living closer. Then we'll talk about getting sick of you. But I'm sure we'll be fine. There's a nice wee nod to the Glenallachie that we had this evening.
Nice one, Dave. About 6, cool. Yeah, I've certainly had 2, and I bought one for my brother-in-law as well. So yeah, I think a 4th one is in the. This probably needs to happen. So, although they might all be gone after tonight. That might be it.
No.
a quick rush.
I
In
wouldn't.
all seriousness, well, £95 for that bottle is astonishing. I mean, people think that's a lot of money, but you know, there was a chap came into the shop last week who's very much a drinker, but also a collector. He was from Banff, so he loves the Devon whiskies and the Macduffs. So he came in and bought the bottle of that. He'd have 2 or 3 things. He was very definite what he was buying. He took one of the shop bottles as well, and he was saying that although people think £95 to £100 a lot of money for a bottle of whiskey, he said it's not, because he said when my dad was buying whiskey, a bottle of whiskey was literally almost his whole week's wage in comparison. Whereas, you know, £95 for a bottle now, it's not our whole wage for a week. Well, most people's not whole wage for a week. So in comparison, whiskey, he said in comparison, whiskey's never been cheaper to his dad and his granddad's era, you know.
Yeah, I suppose the flip side is that there's a lot more affordable. Everyone's affordability is different, but there's a lot more cheaper whiskey out there.
But the fact you can pick up a very good malt for like 30 quid is, you know, incredible.
So lots of great. Hopefully, you find it as exciting as we are with the academy, the tours, the embassy, and the shop. I mean, let's be honest. Whiskey has been or lockdown has been kind to whiskey. We've been very lucky to be able to have adapted pretty quick to the changes and get these virtual tastings. But I'm really excited about what we've got coming up. It might be the end of summer. We don't know, but lots of things going on, and we've been able to expand the team. So Russell's come on a lot more full time. Well, it's not quite full time yet, but that'll come with opening up new avenues and new routes with the shop. We also took on Tony, my wife, more as well. She's making up all the tasting packs, and we've also taken on Annette to do some more business development and kind of. If I'm honest, it was a business run and passion rather than let's look at the business side of it. So we thought for us to be able to sustain ourselves and grow, we needed somebody to come in who knows the business end. So Janice on the shop floor. Everyone loves Janice on the shop floor. So he is the face. She's the person that everyone sees and people ask for when she comes in. So yeah, I think we've got a great team, an exciting team. One that can go places, and hopefully with the start of all these new stuff, we're able to. I think
you do yourself a little bit of a disservice there by saying we've been lucky from somebody coming into this business for the first time. One of the things that everybody says when you work in the whiskey industry, people are so helpful, they're so kind. They'll do anything to kind of make your journey easier in the job, and certainly from a shop point of view, for me, I mean, Janice has been absolutely fantastic. She's been a great mentor in the shop. I knew nothing about that. And she's kind of tutored me hopefully well. Hopefully she's pleased with the way I'm kind of turning out. And now we've got Annette coming on board with the kind of business side of things, which I'm getting my hand on. And then Tony with her exacting packaging and making sure everything's kind of perfect and set out is a really good standard to kind of meet as well. But on top of all that, Mike, and I'm sure I kind of talk on behalf of the guys that are listening in who are customers, it's not about you make your own luck. The drive and the business model that you've put forward has been deserving of the success and the award-winning success that you've picked up this year as well. So I think the ideas that you've pushed forward have actually created that.
So I suppose
and I didn't get paid to say that, guys, before. well, maybe I did. Maybe the check will be in the post for the week. I don't know.
We'll discuss the pay rise soon enough. But what I was mentioned there, the award winning, we didn't quite win, but we got a highly commended accolade from the Icons of Whiskey in 2001 as the best single outlet retailer. So up against some of the best guys in the country from my point of view. Gordon MacPhail have been around since you were away, Russell. So
yes, I was away, and before,
you know, Michael at Carnegie Whisky Cellars, who won the competition, has done a fantastic job. I've been lucky enough to deal with Michael quite a few times. Tyndrum down in the West Coast, you know, the Green Welly stop, everyone kind of formally knows them. You know, so we were up against these guys. So to get highly commended on that and qualify for the Worlds, which is next week, was the first kind of whiskey industry accolade we've had in our 5 years. We've won local ones. We won Specialist Retailer in 2017, I think it was, for Aberdeen City and Shire. But that's voted by people, so by kind of customers and things like that. This is an industry one, so that was absolutely fantastic for us. I didn't even know we were in the bloody thing until I got an email. I got an email through saying congratulations from a chap called Lewis. Congratulations on your highly commended. And I really honestly just thought, oh, everyone gets that. That's a kind of a commiseratory sympathy email. And when I thought, highly commended, because that actually sounds not too bad. So I clicked on it. It's done with I don't know if it's a vote or a blind visit or how they work it, but yeah, just absolutely delighted. So let's touch wood for next week and see what we can do. And I'm not sure what time we're on just now. 51. I don't know if you heard, guys, but one of our local distilleries, which is going to be great news for the Highland Academy, and hopefully for the region as a whole. The Glengarry distillery just had £6 million pumped into it to improve the distillery, not just on the working side of it, but or the distilling. They got new stills, and the wash still is going to be direct fire. But they're also bringing back malt florins and going to be doing their own malting, which is absolutely great. So hopefully, if we could, news is just out. This is all very new. But if we can get some of our academy students turning the malt in those malt floors, that would be a great experience. And hopefully we can get the wife. Not only does she help us out a lot, but she works there as well. They've got a great team up there. And even before Tony worked there, it was one of my favourite visitors centres to go to. And an award-winning, consistently up in top 3 awards for the tours. One of the first lassies who worked for us was Fiona Milne, who was also a tour guide there. So we've always been kind of closely connected with Glengarry, and not just because it's our local one, but we know the people who work there, and it's a great initiative for them to get this money in, and hopefully it brings more people. What I always worry about is Aberdeenshire is not really known as a whiskey region. People fly into Aberdeen. Whiskey visitors to Scotland, Aberdeen is one of the busiest airports, but everyone flies straight through to Speyside, which is a shame, because on the way you're passing Glengarry, Glendronach, Annick. If you want to go up the coast, you've got Glenglassaugh and Macduff. So they're missing some great distilleries. So we want the Academy, the Highland Whisky Academy, to shout about Aberdeenshire, to shout about these great drams we've got on the doorstep.
Little teaser, I guess. We've been talking to some people from Hollywood fairly recently, and it's not that Mike's going to be in the next Batman film or anything like that, but we've been talking, and there will be an event hopefully coming up soon. So keep an eye on the website and the emails. But the guys there were saying they love Scotch, and when they come to Scotland, they go to Edinburgh, they go to the West Coast, they go to Islay. They'd never thought of coming to Aberdeenshire, and just speaking to us, realising the distilleries we've got, and then thinking, oh my God, Glendronach, Glenglassaugh. These are 2 whiskies that are kind of fabled with them, and then just realising that they're here. So yeah, it'd be great if we could just put Aberdeenshire properly on the map as a whiskey region.
Let's hope so. Yeah, I think it's a big step forward. And when you went to Facebook yesterday, every single whiskey themed group had this on it. So it's going to be great. It's going to travel at Wildfire, and I think they hope. I think I read this right. If there's anyone from the Glengarry team on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the plans are to have this all in place by the end of 2021. hopefully, kind of looking at the summer 2022, I think Glengarry could well be one of the distilleries to visit in Scotland. So yeah, Charlie, if you are in Scotland by that time, or even in Ireland, as I hope you are, I hope that dream comes true for you. Jump over and we'll get a trip up to Glengarry and get you turning them all.
I'm just thinking I'm going to have to see if I can, once I move up to Fogey, I'm going to have to see if I can buy a little peat bog so we can do some peat cutting classes as well up there.
So how long will it take an email to get to Fogey if it takes like 20 minutes to get to?
You might need a kind of heavier kind of churn to kind of get it going up there. Possibly the pigeons might be better.
Right, guys. Well, that's 8 o'clock. I believe some of you are heading off to watch some team in Europe playing. So, how do we chat? And like I said, it's been great to kind of reach out to you and tell you what we've got going on. We have got a lot going on at the moment. There's never a day goes by that we're not kind of thinking of new stuff. So this is the kind of pillars of 2021 we've got planned, and I really hope we can raise a glass and
nice bit of drainage, just a time in there. The dishwasher's decided to drain just on cue. It's not my stomach, surely.
Dave's off to work. Forgot you're working next now, Dave. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you weren't having a dram with us before you go. Cheers, Duncan, and you have a great day. And
good luck with the baby.
So thanks very much. Been a pleasure. Next time we'll be live is the 1st of April, 7 p.m. We'll have Andrew Smith, potentially Chris as well. I know he's a little bit camera shy, but we'll ask. We'll try and get him involved. And we'll be talking about Little Brown Dog. They have got some fantastic stuff coming on. Last time I spoke to them about a year ago. It was all about the gin, but they've got whiskey out now. Were you just waiting for the bottle there, Russell?
Cognac. Some nice cognac there.
Cognac. No, Russell hasn't topped it up with Coke. That is the.
This is their Myra. And the one that's we've got some more supply of this one now, the blend, the wee mongrel.
Back in, yeah, and we are expecting some of the McMahon back in tomorrow as well. Cheers, John. We'll see you tomorrow night. So tomorrow night we've got Ben Romick. So I will see you there. That should be a good night as well. We've got Alistair Milligan. You've got a private tasting tomorrow, so you're doing.
I've got a private tasting, yes. Cheese and chocolate, whiskey, cheese and chocolate. Yeah.
You forgot your whiskey, right? Yeah. Please do go over to the Whisky Academy Facebook page and like it. We are planning on doing a launch for a newsletter very soon so that we can get more information out as we get closer to a confirmed date. And have a great weekend, guys. Slàinte. Russell, cheers for jumping on. And
cheers, mate.
Thanks also. Hopefully we'll see you for a drink in person soon or virtually. We'll definitely see you tomorrow, John and Natasha. Janice, don't work too hard, Dave. He's I think that goes for everyone, doesn't it? So don't work too hard. Enjoy a drama at the end of the day, and keep yourselves relaxed. Keep yourselves fighting.
Stay safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely stay safe, guys. Thank you very much. Slàinte.
Cheers.